Welcome everyone. Good evening. Thank you for coming to the PSC Anti-Bullying Committee's event tonight. We're so excited to have so many of you here today. And tonight we have a fabulous speaker from York College. She's one of our very own, Sheridan Abraham. So before we begin, I'm just going to review some quick housekeeping announcements. Please remain muted during the presentation. We will take Q&A at the end. We are recording, so if you need to leave early or if you missed some of it, we will post the recording on the PSC website. If you have a question later on, please feel free to use your Zoom raise hand, or feel free to direct message myself or Sheridan, who will be able to answer your questions. Also, feel free to drop useful information into the chat, and you can also introduce yourself in the chat as well. Right now, I'm going to just go over quickly the PSC community norms and practices. These community norms and practices were adopted by the PSC Executive Council as a way to guide our interactions, our community, and to help us improve and to show dignity and respect for everyone. So please follow along as I read our PSC community norms and practices. Respect for everyone's worth is fundamental to a university, and particularly to CUNY, which was founded on principles of inclusion. We commit ourselves to nurture a work environment that honors the dignity of all, is respectful and free from discrimination, harassment, or bullying, and we therefore agree to respect each other's differences and to create a healthy, safe, and rewarding environment that nurtures, challenges, and supports the community. In order for our community to function in this way, it is useful for its individual members to make the following commitments. 1, I commit to conduct that is mutually respectful and not discriminatory, harassing, bullying, or threatening. 2, I take responsibility for my actions and my personal perspectives, recognizing that there may be disagreements with others. 3, I will respect everyone's contributions and honor the roles and responsibilities of all members through my words and actions. 4, I will be mindful and reflect on how I might be using or misusing my power and privilege in my interactions. 5, I will intend to be inclusive and support others with the same respect and compassion that I want for myself. 6, I am willing to be an active ally, an upstander, by speaking, intervening, or acting on behalf of a person being attacked or bullied. 7, I will seek to understand others and assume best intentions in all interactions. 8, I will seek to understand other perspectives and avoid making assumptions. 9, I commit to listen actively and with compassion at workplace in all union meetings. Our speaker tonight, who will be talking about emotional intelligence and workplace bullying. Professor Sheridan Abraham is an adjunct professor of business and marketing at York College. She has researched workplace bullying extensively and has presented and been published in conference proceedings on the topic. She is a certified emotional intelligence practitioner and has applied emotional intelligence as a coping strategy to ameliorate the negative outcomes of workplace bullying. Her goal is to eradicate workplace bullying while helping people cope with the side effects of the phenomena. So let's give a warm welcome to our speaker, Sheridan Abraham. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to come and let's learn more about workplace bullying and how we can use emotional intelligence to eradicate it completely. So while we are going through the process, we would like to be able to cope. And as we go through the presentation, we will see how important it is to cope. So thank you for being here. Okay, so the format of this presentation will be, we will look at a definition for workplace bullying, just to remind us what workplace bullying is. We will look at who experiences bullying in the workplace. What are the negative outcomes associated with workplace bullying? We will have a poll or a questionnaire based on workplace bullying. We will then go into a definition of emotional intelligence. Then we will also have a poll or questionnaire on emotional intelligence. We will look at a conceptual model, and in conclusion, we'll have recommendations. We will also have 2 small videos that would help us understand what workplace bullying is and how emotional intelligence can be applied. For our definition of workplace bullying has been defined as repeated, unreasonable actions aimed at intimidating, humiliating, degrading, or undermining an employee or group of employees. Bullying can create a risk to employees' health and their safety. So it's important for us to see how derogatory and negative this is. One of the central tenets of bullying is for one person to claim more territory than they're entitled to. So you have a sense of entitlement and believe that whatever is not yours, you're going to get it at all costs. This starts the bullying process as we go along. Now, conservation of resources is a theory that basically explains that people try to protect their resources when they feel threatened. Why would someone feel threatened? We might be in a recession period. We might have a freeze on job hiring. We might be terminating employees. And if that is happening, one employee or a group of employees might say, well, look, I'm going to protect my job at all costs. And we could eliminate, so I will do what I have to do to eliminate those people that might be a threat to me, thereby becoming a bully. Bullying is called by different names in different cultures. For example, it will be called bullying, it could be called mobbing, it could be called aggression, and among other names. What we find is that research has found that bullies are typically supervisors or managers, but it could also be your colleagues or anyone in the workplace who believe that they need to protect their territory. Bullying creates a feeling of inferiority, of stress, of mental issues, sickness, lack of confidence. It undermines the individual. So basically, the bully is trying to put the individual in a position where they claim more power than they're entitled to. If it is a one-time incident, then it's not considered bullying. Instead, repeated acts over a 6-month period or more is considered bullying. This is why we recommend documenting. If something happens in the workplace, you document it. Over a period of time, a pattern will occur and you will see where bullying is occurring. It must be noted that if bullying is not challenged or reported, then the behavior persists and gets worse. So, as we talk about bullying, who suffers? Who reacts to bullying? Well, there are several people in the organization that would suffer. We look at the bullied, the person that's being bullied. This person initially suffers. This is called the victim, the person that is getting this abuse upon them. But not only does the victim suffer, witnesses, people who actually see or experience bullying within the workplace, also experience issues when they recognize bullying. Why is this? Because if you see somebody being treated incorrectly or being harmed, then you go home with a sense of confusion, of mixed feeling, Why is this person being bullied at the job? What's happening? So it creates a sense, a mind sense for the witnesses. The organization also suffers because the organization basically will find that employees' morale starts to drop. When morale drops, productivity drops, motivation drops, absenteeism increase. We find that more employees start taking days off. They feel sick. They're not happy to come to work. So this is a negative way. And then we find turnover intention increases. What is turnover intention? Turnover intention is the precursor to actually quitting the job, turnover. So we see a whole lot of areas where bullying affects the organization. Employees actually start leaving without sharing a reason for leaving. And this is because sometimes you're bullied and it might cause shame. It might cause embarrassment. It might cause hurt. And many employees, especially within a work, an unemployment period that's low, we would say, I'll find another job. And they will walk away and they'll leave. So bullying promotes a toxic environment for the organization. Basically, when this happens and these employees leave without saying why they left, we lose understanding of how to correct the situation, because if it's not documented why they left, reasons for leaving, stuff like that, we do not know. And this behavior will persist within the organization and we will continue losing staff. Bullying creates a sense of lack of trust. Employees stop trusting each other. There's also a feeling of lack of positive organizational support. I'm working for the organization. I'm doing everything I need to do in order to put forward my best foot. And yet I'm not supported by the organization who recognizes bullying is occurring, this behavior that's negative is occurring, and they're not doing anything for it. So the staff feels unsupported. They're not happy. They're not comfortable within the environment. It also affects the organization's bottom line. And this is due to constant recruiting costs. Recruiting costs actually accounts for about 17% of the organization bottom line. And if on a regular basis, your turnover is high and you're losing employees and only paying to recruit new ones, then it's affecting your bottom line. So the organization, as well as the person being bullied and the witnesses, are all feeling the negative effects of bullying. So let's go into some examples of what is considered bullying. And this came from an instrument or a survey that we would use for bullying. I only chose a few of them in the interest of space and time to get your attention and give you awareness of what bullying is. So some examples we would find: someone withholding information which affects your performance. You get a job to do and you don't get all the information that is required to get that job accomplished well. Being humiliated or ridiculed in connection with your work. Somebody passes by, they look at your work, they speak negative about it, or they laugh or snicker. That's not going to create a good environment. Being ordered to do work that's below your level of competence. You know you're qualified to do more. You know you have the ability to do more, yet you are not given the work that you're qualified to do. Instead, you're given work beneath your level of competence. Having key areas of responsibility removed or replaced with more trivial or unpleasant tasks. Things that you like to do, things that are important, things that would show growth for you are taken away and you're given menial tasks. Spreading gossip or rumors about you. So around the office, around the water cooler, rumors are spread about you, and it goes around the office. People start snickering, people start looking at you. Being ignored or excluded or facing hostile reaction when you approach. And this could stem from the rumors that were shared. This could stem from different situations, and people start looking at you differently and you feel uncomfortable. Being shouted at or the target of spontaneous anger. Somebody within your environment, it could be a supervisor, it could be a manager, it could be a colleague, shout at you. You start you get a feeling of belittlement. There might also be hints or signals from others that you should quit your job. You may have persistent criticism of your work and or excessive monitoring at your work. Everything that you do, they supervise it, they check it, they look at it to make sure it's correct. You may have allegations made against you. You may be exposed to an unmanageable workload, work upon work upon work, and there is no way you could realistically accomplish it. And you may have threats of violence or physical abuse or actual abuse. So these are just a few of the examples of bullying. And what I would like you to do as we review these bullying examples here, put yourself in the office. Think about it. Think about your situation, and then ask yourself the question. After you reviewed the above list, how many people can actually say they have experienced bullying in the workplace? Yes, no, or you're not sure. These are all things you may want to ask yourself to find out if you are being bullied in the workplace. Things that we may take for granted may not be turning up. You may not consider as bullying. So start thinking about it. Start looking at it. Start understanding what bullying is, and if these are behaviors that you have experienced within the workplace. This is critically important because if you are aware that bullying is taking place, there has to be some way that we put a stop to it. We must first document it. If it's a one-off, as we said earlier on, then you know it's a negative behavior, you speak about it. But if it's continued behavior, then we have to do something about it. You must speak up, you must talk about it. Bullying cannot continue in the workplace. So this brings us to one coping strategy, and this is emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence has been defined as the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and use emotions efficiently to facilitate thinking and dealing with others. Now, this was one of the forefathers of emotional intelligence that came up with these concept of what emotional intelligence is, Salovey and Meyer. Just to give a little background on emotional intelligence, or EQ, and it's also known as EI. First of all, when emotional intelligence started to be studied, emotional intelligence was thought to be a concept associated with IQ. So what we have found is that there is no known connection between EQ and IQ. IQ basically is your ability to learn. Your IQ is the same at 15 as it is at 50. That is the ability you have to learn, and you're born with it, and that's yours. That's what comes with you. On the other hand, we start looking at EQ. What is EQ? EQ is a fundamental element of human behavior. This is how we behave. It's our characteristics that we look at. It is an essential part of you as a whole person, how you function, how you manage your behaviors, because we looked at understand, perception, managing our behaviors. What EQ is, it's a set of flexible skills that can be acquired with practice. So that's good news. We can train to get EQ skills. Some people are more emotionally intelligent than others. And you can develop these skills even if you are not born with them. So that is great news. Neurologists use a term called plasticity. And this term describes the brain's ability to change, adapt, and learn. When we find out something new, we learn something new, we could change it and adapt to these new situations. So our EQ helps us to do this. The source of EQ is actually the link between the brain's rational and emotional communication. So it starts in your brain. When information comes into your brain, it comes through the limbic nerve and it goes straight to the frontal nerve, where basically we have EQ taking place. How we translate this information, how we relate this information, and how we manage this information helps our EQ ability and skills to improve. So here is a skill set of critical EQ skills. Let's look at them. Some of the skills that are critical for EQ are decision-making, time management, change tolerance, stress tolerance, empathy, teamwork, communication, anger management, presentation skills, social skills, customer skills, customer service, assertiveness, trust, accountability, and flexibility. These are all skills that are required as a foundation for our EQ skills. Think of the skills that you have. Can all these skills be learned? Can they be developed? Can they be enhanced? Yes, they can. EQ requires empathy, putting yourself in another person's position, thinking about what the person is going through. So for example, if we see somebody within our office being bullied, how would you feel if you're bullied? Look at the stress tolerance. How will somebody who is under major stress react and perform because their EQ skills are not enhanced? What about anger management? Can we manage our anger, or do we flip off at anything? Assertiveness, accountability, flexibility, trust, these are all components that are affected by workplace bullying because the bully tries to undermine you. The bully tries to take away these skills from you. Take a look at this one, social skills. Why would social skills be important? We will look at that later on, and we see we need to have social skills in order to interact with other people in our work environment. So EQ comes in so many different ways. Communication, change tolerance, things are changing around us. We live in a world of change right now. Change is the only constant we know. And within the recent years, we've had so much change in everything that we have to know how to manage the tolerance of it. So these are skills that can all be trained, learned, required. Let us go into emotional intelligence and look at some of the variables that we found or questions that we would find on our EQ questionnaire. Again, this is only a short amount of the questions. There are like 33 items on this questionnaire. I chose a few of them just to give us an idea of what is going on when we look at EQ. Some of the questions you would be asked. I expect I will do well on most things I try. When I'm faced with obstacles, I remember times I am faced with similar obstacles and I overcome it. Emotions are one of the things that make my life worthwhile. I am aware of my emotions as I experience them. And this is really a key one. If you are aware of your emotions, you understand where the emotion is stemming from, then you're able to manage it. You're able to control it. It is difficult for me to understand why people feel the way they do. Now that's your empathy kicking in there. If you understand what's happening with the person, why they're reacting or why they're feeling the same way, then you're empathizing with them. Other people find it easy to confide in me. There is a sense of trust there, a sense of accountability. You can basically be trusted in sharing information that's confidential. By looking at facial expressions, I recognize the message others are sending. Can somebody just look at you and recognize what they're saying to you? Just as a sidebar here, I remember as a young child, all my mother had to do is look at us and we would know, buckle up, things are going wrong. So this is important for us. People in different relationships, sometimes through an iMessage, would send a message without anybody else knowing. Body language, eye language would communicate the message. When I'm in a positive mood, solving problems is easy for me. So we see our mood is changing and helping us to be productive. I motivate myself by imagining a good outcome to tasks I take on. I help others feel better when they are down, and I have control of my emotions. So as we look at this subset of questions here, think about it. Do you have some of these skills that are required to live in a stressful environment or in an environment where workplace bullying is taking place? These are all important for us to look at. As we looked at those, think as we review the skill set of emotional intelligence. Do you believe that you possess these skills? Yes, no, maybe. You think about it. Can you learn these skills? All the skills that we discussed earlier on: empathy, teamwork, presentation, communication, social skills, anger management, stress tolerance, flexibility, assertiveness. These are all skills that could be learned. Do you believe you can learn these skills? And thirdly, should our employer provide courses to teach these skills? Should this be part of the employer's responsibility? And this is important because we get skills for different things. We have ethics training. We have guns on the campus training. We have sexual harassment training to recognize and know it. So why can't we get emotional intelligence training? It would only help us within the organization. How then can we use emotional intelligence to cope? Research has shown that EI, or emotional intelligence, is a strong predictor of the most powerful intelligence, the social emotional intelligence, ESI, competencies that are associated with it. Research has found that this is key to being able to cope or interact on a social level. Highly emotionally intelligent people are better able to succeed and cope. The skills that impact psychological health, such as the ability to manage emotions and cope with stress, the drive to accomplish personal goals that lead to a meaningful life, the ability to verify feelings and thinking. Emotionally intelligent people possess the ability to understand and problem solve situations. So therefore, people who have deficiencies in these skills may experience anxieties and inability to manage stress. So we see that it's key that we have these skills that would help us. Here's what emotional intelligence is, and it incorporates. Emotional intelligence involves personal competence, which is what I see, my self-awareness, my self-management, and my social competence, what I do, my social awareness and relationship management. These are all key for us to enhance our emotional intelligence. Here is a model that is proposed that I have produced. It's a conceptual model. And basically what it is saying is where workplace bullying is in the workplace, it creates stress and other negative outcomes. And these negative outcomes are turnover intentions, absenteeism, health reduction in health, and other areas. What this model is saying is if we introduce emotional intelligence, the personal competence, self-awareness, self-management, your social competence, social awareness, relationship management, then we should eliminate or reduce the stress and negative outcomes associated with it, along with our social networking behavior, how we interact with people. These are all skills that would be required to cope with workplace bullying as we apply emotional intelligence to the situation. So let's look at in depth at personal competence. What I see. It's the ability to monitor one's own and others' emotions so that we can discriminate or understand or distinguish between these emotions, and use the information to guide your thinking and your actions. What do we mean by this? How do we apply this? It seems like we've said a lot here. But basically, with self-awareness, are you aware of your emotions? Are you aware of the others' emotions of others around you? Are you in tune with your emotions and where they stem from? And this is really important. Sometimes we feel tense, a sense of tension. But do we know what is causing this sense of tension within us? Is it from stress? Is it from hurt? Is it from anger? It could also be from joy, from happiness, from contentment, or other sources. If we are aware of what made us feel a certain way, because it involves our moods, our emotions, then we're able to manage it. So it brings us into the self-management area. Do you understand the difference between your emotions? And can you use these information to guide your thinking and actions? If you know what the actions are, what your emotions are, and what's causing the emotion, then you're able to better manage your actions and what you're thinking. So basically, from a personal competence standpoint, the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and use your emotions effectively can facilitate your thinking and how you deal with others. From the social competence standpoint, what do I do? So EI is the ability of socially and emotionally intelligent people to recognize and communicate their own emotions, as well as to understand the emotions of others. So here we're saying, wait a minute, if I understand what emotion I'm feeling, I will be able to share that emotion or communicate what I'm thinking about it or what's causing it. And if I understand others' emotions, then it helps me to understand what is happening. So if we look at somebody that's being bullied within the workplace, or somebody that has witnessed bullying in the workplace, and we see different patterns of emotions emerging, we are then able to understand what we can do about it or how best we can handle these emotions. So social awareness says that we are all social individuals. We interact with each other on a daily basis. We come into the workplace, we interact, we have to communicate, we have to share ideas, we work together. So we are social individuals. We can socially recognize and communicate our own emotions. The question is, do we understand the emotions of others? So do we understand our own emotions, and do we understand the emotion of others? If we do, it really helps us to understand what is going on around us. In relationship management, in today's world, we are about relationships, building relationships for growth and helping us move from one level to the other. Goldman, in his 1998 research, said that his model of emotional intelligence was based on traits, a person's trait. So it means that it incorporates your personality. What makes you you? What are the traits within you that are capable of managing a relationship? It is based on self-perception, and this is key here, because you have to understand from your level of perception what the emotions are saying or what's going on with the emotions. It incorporates how you think about yourself and how you think about others. It is about managing your relationships and developing the ability to understand and problem solve. I'm going to share you a work scenario here that basically would give us an understanding of what we can expect with our relationships.
You know, every time you're late, I have to pick up your slack.
I'm sorry, I've got a lot going on right now. Anyway, it was 10 minutes. Is it really that big of a deal?
It was 20 minutes, and yes, it is a big deal. How about I start leaving 20 minutes early, and you can see what it's like to have 20 minutes worth of extra work to do.
I said I was sorry. What more do you want from me?
How about a real apology for one thing, and maybe then you can start coming in on time.
How about you stop making such a big deal out of one little mistake?
Wow, you are so not gonna last here. Thank you. You know, every time you're late, I have to pick up your slack.
My mornings have been really tough with the kids lately. I'm sorry that's affected you.
Well, you're gonna have to get that figured out because that was just 20 minutes of covering both phones.
I really am sorry. I've been there before and I know what a drag it is.
Yeah, it's really stressful.
I promise I'll be on time from now on.
I'd appreciate that.
So, as we have seen, the good news is that it is a set of flexible skills that can be acquired with practice. We can train ourselves. We can get training for the skills that are required that we discussed earlier on. We can develop the ability to manage and cope with workplace bullying. Remember, we are coping with workplace bullying while we go through the process of eradicating it. We have the ability to verify and manage our emotions. Training does this. We can use these skills to drive and accomplish our professional and personal goals. What we need is for management and administration to buy in and send a clear message that workplace bullying is not tolerated within the organization. Just as we say sexual harassment is not tolerated, workplace bullying is not tolerated. And anyone caught having the behaviors or doing the behaviors of workplace bullying should be told it's not tolerated. There are policies and procedures that are set forth for workplace bullying, managing workplace bullying. They can offer training of the identified skill set to promote a culture of well-being and positive organizational support. So employees should always know that the organization appreciates them. Remember, your employees are one of your main resources, human resources, and they keep your business running. So the organization should show positive organizational support. In the long run, we want to eradicate workplace bullying and promote a healthy work environment. This is what it takes for us to move forward in a positive way. We have one more video here that I would like to share.
Yes.
You wanted a meeting in the boardroom.
Thank you very much for letting me know.
Okay.
See you in a minute. Tanya, can you file this? And I need the Johnson file right away. Come on, come on, come on. I got my meeting. You knew about this morning. What have you been doing all day? Do you not understand English? You can be replaced. I hope you realize that. Okay, Ted, get on my way.
I was just...
Yeah, I know, but I've got a meeting to go to. You can do whatever after. I've got a meeting to go to. I need a quarter. Here, give me your quarter.
But that was my only quarter.
Well, you know what? Oh, poor mommy's baby. You can get one later. I got important things to do. Hey, I need the photocopier. Excuse, not almost done. I need the photocopier now. You get it? You understand? Well, just a sec won't work. I've got a meeting. Like, what is with you people downstairs? You don't really, you just don't get it sometimes. A meeting now means now? Who's your supervisor anyway, pal? Hallie speaking. Hi. Haven't talked to you for a long time. No, that was great. I loved it. We are going to have to do that again. Oh, I know. That was my favorite part, too. It was just awesome. Hang on a sec. Huh?
I'm sorry, I'm on
Well, hello? Brainwave, I'm on the phone too, Sal. See that? Duh. Nah, just some idiot that works here answering the phone. I don't know where they hire these people. I really don't. She tells me she's on the phone, like I'm not. Oh, that's great. You know what? I've got to let you go, though, because I've got to go to a meeting, and what I'll do is I'll give you a call later on, okay? What are you, some kind of moron? I hope you don't drive. Do you have a license? I hope you don't drive like that, because you'll be killing somebody. Pick up the mess. I got to go to a meeting. Sorry I'm late, guys. It was one of those days. You know what those are like. So, where do we get started? What's this about?
Actually, Hallie, this meeting's about your attitude.
My attitude? What attitude, Barb? Barb, I don't know what you mean, like... Tanya?
So I want to thank everyone for listening to my presentation, and now the floor is open for questions and answers.